friends. Give me a moment to get everybody wired up here. Daily Art Adventure number 784. That's all I'm going to say because we're already rolling. At least on YouTube, we're already rolling. Hello, gang. Again, my name is Dan. Thanks for joining me today. And I'm doing Daily Art Adventure number 874. Woohoo! Now, I've got some sound that is very good here. Let me see if I can do something about that really quickly. Bear with me just a moment. Let's see if that's any better. No, it's really not. Hang on. Let's try it again. Sounds like it has a little bit of an overdrive in it. Whatever that means to you non-musicians, eh? Okay, that sounds better. Let's try that. Okay, I definitely got softer on you, didn't I? There you go. I think that's a little better quality. All right. Again, thank you for joining me. And we'll have a monitor up for Facebook in just a minute. All right. I'm in my second batch of portraits. I'll show them, flash them by you really quickly. These are some of the coronavirus special. Well, we're still getting overdrive sound. Bear with me just a minute. I'm going to fix that again. I'm going to try to fix it more. Hang on. Sorry about that. It's really bad. When I start talking loudly, it starts clipping again. All right, so there's one that's right. Here's Holly, a lovely bride, and her dog. Here's somebody's niece. That's hardly a portrait, but that's what the person sent me. So I could either get upset and say, that's not a portrait, or I could just take the money and run. And this is Wright, and this is Wright's parents. This is Wright 22 years ago. And this is his parents. And I see, by the way, that I'm getting fairly close on Jim. I know these people. Sally, I mentioned the other day, let me talk on it just for a minute. So far, on all of these, I haven't done any cheating. It's just all been looking. I mentioned the other day that doing a portrait, a single canvas with two people in it, is not twice as difficult as a portrait with one person. It's considerably more than twice as difficult. Okay, here's why. When you're doing a canvas with one person in it, all you have to do is get that one person's head and body in right relationship to each other. When you're doing two people, not only do you have to get his head and body, her head and body, you have to get the two of them in relation to each other. And I can already see today, looking at this with fresh eyes, that Sally's head is getting too large compared to Jim's. Now let's look at the photograph and see if I still think that's the case. Yes, I do. Darn, no. The other day I got exasperated and quit working on her from the nose down. But from the nose up, I'm pretty close, and I'm kind of close on him. Anyway, that's just a good example of the problems you encounter when you're doing more than one portrait. Now, I'm not complaining, I'm just teaching here. Do you understand? All right, now back to Wright. Hello, Treadfall, good to have you. Hello, Lynn Gully. Oh my goodness, nice to have you watching. Hello, Karen. All right, now let me get this out of the way just for a second so I can just talk about Wright. And let me find his photograph. Here we go. And I'm beginning to get a little hint of a likeness here. But even the other day, after I put this down, I went, oh, darn it. His head is growing. As I've just been working, little by little, it's gotten larger. And when I looked at it leaning on the floor this morning when I came into my studio, I went, ah, rats. Yep, his head's too big. So I'm going to start employing a very particular cheating. By the way, and you know, I talk about this quote unquote cheating all the time. If you want to save yourself from breath, don't respond to me and say, I don't think it's cheating. I've only heard that 483 times, and it's a matter of semantics, and I'm the one who's manning the semantics in this case, okay? And in my world, anything that's tracing, projecting, measuring, gridding, turning upside down, all of that is cheating. Now, it's all legal. Whew, get so tired of saying this, right? But to the extent that you cheat, the more your brain shrinks. I don't like my brain shrinking, so I'm doing it the hard way. Let me also add, just in the last couple weeks, because I did 5 portraits last week and I'm doing another 5 this week, I was brought face to face with the reality that most non-artists have literally, I already knew this, but even more, no concept what artists go through. They are fooled, tricked, deceived by Bob Ross, and now by 1,000 others online. That anyway, I am working like a real artist, and that means it's a matter of process. That's the word you need to know. Process. Most non-artists would, if they saw me working with it, they'd say, I don't get it. I thought you just drew of a person. I thought you just drew and it looked like it. That's because you're not an artist, right? That's like if you're not a Major League Baseball player, you thought it was just a matter of throwing a baseball. I'm making that comparison, okay? As much of a, how far is this from Major League Baseball player? About a light years. Same thing. Oh, I thought you just drew it. No, okay. Anyway, before I get any more snarky or nasty, I'm going to stop right there. And let's get the camera off me and get it on my painting, get it on right. But one of the things I do want to show you, though, if you are going to cheat, and of course, all cheating is legal. It's all legal. And I've decided to go ahead and start employing, hello, Monique. I've decided to go ahead and start employing a very particular cheat. And one of the things that I want to show all of you budding artists, doggone it, if you are going to cheat, then at least cheat well. Are you with me? And I'm going to teach you how to cheat well. There's 1,000 different ways. Here's one way. I have never shown you this before, so it's about time that I showed you. In Photoshop, first of all, this image is exactly the same. Well, this image is exactly the same size that this image ought to be, but this image has gotten too large, okay? That's enough. I won't explain any more than that, but just trust me, this head is supposed to be this big. All right. In Photoshop, I put just a very simple box, temple, edge of cheek, bottom of chin, top of hair, rectangle. Then I did an X right from corner to corner, and then one more right through the middle, okay? This is just one way to cheat. And then using a ruler and a T-square and a watercolor pencil, by the way, this is an oil painting, by the way, but watercolor pencils aren't, this is not a colored pencil, it's a watercolor pencil, big difference. So I can erase this with a damp rag or a damp brush or anything. Also, because it's rather risky, you may imagine, to draw with a colored pencil on top of your oil painting, right? Right, so you have to do it with the right thing, and watercolor pencil is the ticket. Now, what this grid does, it gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. So with a ruler, this box here is exactly the same size as this one. For instance, you see the mistake here. See up here, this line is the top of his head. Look at over here. The top of his head is almost half an inch above that. And that's erroneous. His whole head needs to shrink, all right? But this gives me, what did I say, 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 axes that I'm going to use to measure things from. Now, before I go any further, let me say, oh, by the way, if you want more than that, it gives you 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, actually. If you count where the line intersects, I would just have to, if I did this, I would have to draw, on my painting, I would draw a line corresponding to this, right? And then I would have 16 measuring points. But I'm going to keep it simple for the moment, and I'm just going to stick with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, so the lines are there. I could spend the rest of my time, and I might use a ruler, and I could say, the center of this eye is exactly 2 inches, 1.5/16 from that place. All right, so that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is simply by, let's say, putting, this is a proportional divider, right? Very inexpensive, very cheap tool. Put it right here at this intersection and right here at this eye. And then don't bump it, right? But that would give me a pretty close estimate where that pupil should go. Okay, now stick with me just for a minute, because as I said, if I'm going to teach you how to cheat, I want to teach you how to cheat really, really, really well. All right? So this is okay. This is a high quality instrument. What's the difference? Well, first of all, it comes to a razor sharp point right here. You see the difference between these 2 points? You can't cut yourself on this one. You sure don't want to touch that one with any force. Okay, so this is microscopically accurate. And it's a little bit more stiff. You see what I mean? It doesn't, you won't knock it out of place. So again, where do you get this? This is an old-fashioned drafting tool. And I know that many of you don't have drafting tools, but some of you do. So that's a better instrument. If you don't mind hanging on, just again, one of my goals here is to show you how to cheat really, really, really well. If you're going to cheat, develop some skills at it. And all cheating is legal. Here's an even better instrument. Whoops, hang on. I came out of the track here. All right, so this is even more of a precision engineered instrument. I'd have a dull, I might take a minute and take this piece of lead out and put another one of those needles in. So, and this one, you see, it's completely stiff. So there's no accidental bumping from here to here. That's the only real advantage, is it's rigid. One more thing though, as you can have some of you have already figured out, wait a minute, just having that one measurement from that corner to that eyeball, that doesn't give you a precise, because how do you know? Okay, so here's how. If you want to be really precise about it, you use 2 dividers at the same time. Now some of you, I'm driving you crazy right now, but you're thinking, no, okay? So I have a measurement right there that's like within 1/100th of an inch of accurate, because I'm using 2 dividers. Okay, now this is partly a, bless your heart, it's partly a personality issue. Some of you are just way, way, way too free-spirited, artsy. I don't want to say artsy-fartsy, but some of you are just way, way, way too artsy. This kind of thing, what I'm demonstrating right here, would just drive you up a wall. And it's just me showing you is driving you. Others of you, because we're all different, aren't we? Others of you are saying, doggone, I love it. Those of you who are more, your personality is more engineer-ish. Did I say that weirdly enough for you? I think I did. Those of you who are more engineers in your mindset, and again, there's not a, neither right nor wrong here. By the way, I just got rid of my little piece of lead, so now I have a very sharp point there. It's actually a pen, but that's right. All right. Those of you who are more technical minded, you're going nuts right now saying, this is fantastic. Why didn't anybody show me that before? And again, some of you are saying, this is horrible. How can you even stand to think this way? Okay, the good news is, at least I can imagine both mentalities. All right? I know that some of you are just, you've already left my channel because you're upset that any artiste would even stoop to doing such, what's the word, technical hijinks as this. I mean, you might do one of these, but you would never dream of doing what I just showed you. All right, okay, now I'm looking for a pencil, because yeah, I'm actually going to, okay, if we're going to cheat good, if we're going to cheat well, then let's do it, okay? And I'm going to start off, well, I'll start off with the very measurement that I just did. So I actually have 2 dividers here before I get really crazy about it. So very carefully, and I'm looking for the center of his pupil, not the edge of his pupil. And where those 2 come together, that's the center of his pupil, right there. There you go. So I have a dot, so I can get started now. Let's find his other pupil. And by the way, as you can imagine, if I keep this broadcast going for any length of time, I mean, I've already lost some of you because I've just gotten too technical. And I understand that. That's just, we are different. Now let's check. Let's just see if I've got those right. Because center of pupil to center of pupil. Let's check that measurement. Ooh, one of them's about a 16th off. And I'm going to guess it's this one right here. I've got a reason for guessing that, but never mind. It's just my intuition. I believe it, I think my friend, quote unquote friend, because he doesn't know me, my friend Mark Carter, with a D, Carter, he's the big dog portrait painter, did both Bush presidents, if I understand correctly. I think he did the official Bush president portraits. So that'd make him an official big dog portrait painter. I think that he subscribes, if that's the word. He hang on, corner of the mouth right there. He teaches this technique. Now I'm going to stop being quite so fussy here, and all I'm going to do now is try to keep the calipers at the same angle that they were. Let's do 2 things. All right, are you understanding? I hope you are. A little bit, a little bit of what I'm doing here. Again, if you're going to cheat, well then, for goodness sake, cheat well. Most people are familiar with doing a grid. Most people are not familiar with how to do a grid well. Most people learned how to do a grid, perhaps if you're an artist. You learned it in high school art class or middle school art class. And that's where you do, you know, a grid on your photograph and then a corresponding grid, often of a different size, on your canvas. And that might be where you left it. Well, just last week, on one of my videos, I did a how to do a graduate level grid, how to do a much better grid than the one you learned in junior high school. Anyway, I'm not going to repeat it right now, but I guess I just want you to know that the simple grid that you learned in high school, there's more to learn. Okay, wow, now this is interesting. From the corner to the top of his eyebrow. Whoa. Whoa. That surprised me. So his eyebrows are too high. Excuse me just a minute. I'm just going to do some, right now I'm just using the triangles here at like a grid. Let's see how far does that eyebrow go? Anyway, Mark Carter, I think, uses this technique of putting a simple grid. Now, one of you might say, well, why couldn't you do a whole bunch more lines? Well, you could, and then you end up essentially with a grid with X's in it as well as boxes. Yes, that'd be very, you certainly may do that. Yes, that's legal, quote unquote. Okay, I'm going to do a dot right here, from here to where the space between his front teeth. So I'm hoping, I think I'm holding the calipers, the dividers at the same. See, if I move like this, then I lose the benefit of the accurate measurement. Let's do a dot right here. It's the apex of the recurve of his chin. Whoa. Let's do, where does his chin intersect this bottom line? Yeah, right about there. Now, you don't have to use I don't have to use a pencil, as I'm hoping that you may understand. I could be making all these marks. Okay, it's about a 1/4 inch outside that vertical. I could, wow, I'm way off on his ear. I could be doing all this with a brush and dark paint. I'm assuming that's registering. You're going, oh yeah, that's right, of course, yes, of course. You could be doing that, right? That would be an appropriate response. Oh yeah, you could do this with a brush. Why, I ask you, why might it be, this is pretty obvious, I guess. Why might it be a better idea to do it with a pencil? Yes, simply because it's cleaner. Simply because it's so much cleaner. That's all. Okay, from that point to the bottom of his white t-shirt. Wow. Let's do from here. Here's where his blue collar. That does not look right. So I did something wrong. Let's try that again. Oh yeah. So I don't know what mistake I made, but I don't know what mistake I just made, but whatever it was a big one. I am so good at making big mistakes. It's Literally can make your head spin. My mistake mistake skills are nearly unparalleled. And so are yours. Nothing personal. Um, doing it, you know what I've learned? Doing any kind of physical work at all. And by that I mean gardening, but especially carpentry, cleaning up, anything that is not simply mental work. Once you start interfacing with the physical world, I'm going somewhere with this, bear with me. I may not be going anywhere good or worthwhile, of course, but I have learned that once you start interfacing with the physical world, now some of you are thinking, what? That's crazy. Everybody interfaces with the physical world all the time. To which I would say, not so fast, Schmedley. No, no, no. There are many people that spend their entire career or life, or not the entire, but their great majority of their career in purely cerebral endeavors. All the professors that are in the humanities, except for the artists, they have to deal with physical reality. But anyway, philosophy, history, mathematics, and likewise, if your job is you work with computers all day, every day, bless your heart, nothing wrong with that, but you do not experience, at least in your work, the principle I'm talking about, which is, as soon as you start interfacing with physical existence, physical reality, you begin to discover, I'll put it in a funny way, you begin to discover how much of a screw up you are, or how much you screw up. Like an example, one of the chief examples I have in mind is actually like an auto mechanic. I'm not an auto mechanic, but I've done enough of it, and I've helped my friends work on my cars and so forth. I've done enough auto mechanics to know that that's just part of life. People drop things frequently. If you're a mechanic, you skin your knuckles. You just do. So, what's that have to do with being an artist? Well, just this. That as soon as you start doing artwork in the real world, in interfacing with physical reality, you discover, oh my goodness, I screw up a lot. And part of the reason I'm saying all of this is sort of by way of encouragement to myself as much as to you, that's just part of being human and living on this planet. Is if you live on this planet, you screw up. Not if you're a history or economics professor or philosophy professor, then you don't suffer the same kind of consequences of your screw-ups as those who deal with I could say the hard sciences. I don't mean difficult sciences, I mean the pastiche sciences. All right, let's do a dot. And okay, back to the subject at hand, if you will. As soon as you start trying to capture a perfect likeness, in a drawing, very, very quickly you discover, again, not to put you or me down, I guess I'm still back on the subject of people who are not artists having no concept of what a real artist goes through. Now, let me, kind of the sub-theme of today's broadcast and the whole last couple weeks has been this concept of cheating. Now, certainly, if you cheat, quote unquote, then and again, all cheating is legal, so I'm not. And as you can see, I'm cheating a lot right here. Then why don't I cheat all the time? Okay, I've already answered that, and I've answered it multiple times over the last couple weeks. Why don't I just go ahead and cheat? The answer is because your brain shrinks. Because your brain shrinks. Quote unquote. Of course, I'm not speaking literally, of course. But figuratively, your skills deteriorate. I might add to that markedly, noticeably, significantly. It's not like a insignificant amount. No, not at all. Quite significant. All right. And I think because, tell you what, let's do this. I'm going to put this painting down, and because I do think that this is dreadfully boring to watch. You've got the idea now. I'll do a whole bunch more of that. But let's do some non-cheating for a minute, okay? So I have, this is the one portrait that I've worked on the least. Of the 5 that I've got, this is the least worked on. Now let me look at some of your chats. You guys are chatting up quite a storm on both YouTube and Facebook. Oh, that is not ocean behind right. It looks like it. It's a house, suburban setting, I think. Yes, Eric Brooksby, you're exactly right. I remember that. I know that famous quote, Sergeant, a photograph that there's something not quite right about the mouth. Hello, Deborah Van Dusen. Thank you, Jane. Yeah, you missed the beginning. That was important, that the scale was exactly the same. And David says the mic is too strong. Hello, Melissa. Hello, Raven6. Raven, I have a funny memory about you. Raven was one of my original viewers on Facebook 3+ years ago when I was broadcasting on Facebook. I started in January. It's okay, Raven. This is not embarrassing. It's just funny. And so I'd been broadcasting, almost every day from January 1st until March or April, first time it got hot. And when it got hot, I put on shorts. And Raven said, "Nice knees." It was the first time I appeared on camera with shorts on. Raven, do you remember that? I don't know why I remember that. It's just funny. I am wearing shorts today, but thank goodness you can't see my knees.
I'm sorry, we got that guy here from the lawn to talk to us.
Oh, gracious. Okay, gang, I just learned that I have to end this broadcast. All right, I guess we went far enough anyway, didn't we? We have a little homeowner business interacting to do. So when I come back, I'll work on this lady and talk about drawing the old-fashioned way without any cheating per se. So I've just got the photograph there, And I have much to say about that as well, as you can imagine. All right, thanks for watching. Sorry about this. I'll be back in a little while. Bye-bye.